This is the Power of OZmosis podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network.
Hi everyone, this is the Power of OZmosis video podcast, powered by Vidwheel Creator Network. I'm coming to you live today from Trek by NGTI, a co-working incubator in the heart of Niagara Falls, New York. I'm joined today by someone who is a huge inspiration to me. This is something that I told him I wasn't going to say until we started recording, but someone who really inspires me, both in proximity, but also from afar. He is a community champion. He is a motivator. He is a shaper of young minds, and he's doing a lot of great work in our communities. So I'm joined and honored today to be joined by executive chef, Bobby Anderson, F-Bites, and the list goes on. His story is amazing. So welcome to the show, Chef.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time, for even asking me to share this journey, possible with you,
of course,
and your audience.
Yeah, you are. This has been something I've been looking forward to. I know you're a busy man. Things can be. I know I've been busy. So when we put this date on the calendar, man, I was excited for it.
2 months ago.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, that's what you got going on, right? So it's a function of the amount of incredible community works you're doing. So maybe for the audience to start, let's educate our listeners and watchers as we kind of embark on this exploratory journey together, because I want to sidebar. While I know Chef Bobby, I don't really know him really well. So this is really exciting because we're in real time and I'm getting to know you. So maybe some insights as to who you are and how we're here today.
Well, it's really not complicated. It's really simple. But I complicated it coming up the ranks here. So, I started out as a cook in a restaurant. The only reason why I was cooking because I wanted to get away from the streets. I was getting in trouble at the age of 15, 16. Trouble meaning fighting, mischief, just getting petty arrests on the weekends, nothing heavy. But I just realized jail wasn't a way for me. I didn't like being next to people. I didn't like being in a crowded space in a cell with people. So cooking was the next best thing. So I got me a dishwasher job and I started cooking. Post 30 years later, I ended up becoming an executive chef. I ended up doing some really good things with culinary. And I didn't start off wanting to be a chef. It wasn't cool. The Food Network wasn't around. You're basically a trusted servant. But I got a chance to do some really cool things over the last 30 years. One, sending my family to college, paying for them to enter a university through my cooking.
Wow.
And so, I supported a family and I supported myself. And more importantly, I didn't find myself behind bars like the rest of my constituents was. So that's my greatest defeat right there. Not going to jail. I defeated the odds of a young black male in a poverty stricken district and didn't go to jail or didn't enter the morgue.
Yeah.
So nothing exciting, After that, I realized that I was on a journey. I was on a mission, and then my mission became God's mission, and then that mission turned out to be, okay, use me. I'm just a trusted servant,
an instrument.
Yeah. So this servant attitude led me to a nonprofit. To start a nonprofit 12 years ago. And I want to warn people about overnight success. People say, congratulations over your overnight success. Overnight success took 12 years just to get the horse out the gate. So for those entrepreneurs or those self-starters, it takes a little bit of time. This is not a microwave process. And so I wasn't smarter than the...
You're good, JD.
I wasn't smarter than the... Oh, that's my wife right there.
Chef's wife who's stopping
my little baby right here.
We're I'm actually make sure we're recording too. We're in real time.
This is gorgeous Kennedy right here. This is my beautiful wife.
Say hi to our millions of watchers and listeners.
Welcome.
Yeah. And I should have also said we have F-Bites. Sorry, we're in a great spot there, by the way. I want to make sure we highlight that. But we're in, again, track, but we're in this beautiful area where F-Bites, one of Chef Bobby's organizations, is not-for-profits that he's at the helm of. is right behind us, right? So we're going to dive more into that. But then we also have this beautiful entrepreneurial mural part of Trek and the journeys that we go on. So I should have also prefaced that we are in an incubator. There are a lot of other people in here, of course, socially distanced, et cetera, safe. But it's a cool environment. It's in real time, very interactive. So perfect timing that you were able to stop in.
Yes, well, I'll let you continue.
Okay, love you guys.
That's awesome. What a great cameo.
Yes.
Thanks,
Okay,
Jam. Thanks,
you.
Jam.
So
You said servant, though. I love that servant of higher power.
Yeah, as you can see, the whole servant philosophy became my goal. I didn't set out to become this millionaire or this entrepreneur. I set out to help others, through my gift of cooking. I had a very high talent of learning things in the kitchen very quickly, quicker than my French counterparts, I realized early on in my career. But one thing I didn't want to be labeled as some fried chicken cook or some low bottom short order cook. So I really dove myself into my cooking career for 20 years. And that's another thing people don't see behind the scenes. They see me on Hell's Kitchen season 4.
That's right, Gordon Ramsay.
Winning almost $250,000. But they didn't see post 25 years of me diving myself into my career, learning the French techniques, learning the mother sauces, learning the Scoffier way of cooking. A lot of times I was the only Black minority in a country club setting or in these fine dining restaurants. And I persevered. You want to talk about being humility. Life decides that. So it's not, I didn't have the time to learn this. I had to hurry up and pick up the pace. Coming from where I'm coming from a diversity, we talk about diversity area, I had to pick up the pace early on in life. I was an 11-year-old boy playing baseball, and I had an 81 mile an hour accurate pitch. I was really talented. But the thing of it is, I had to try all these different things because I was being raised by a dying mother. My mother was suffering from kidney failure, at the age of 8. So I know what it's like to hurry up and pick up the pace and try to prove things before someone leaves this earth on a younger age. So I just be careful and be mindful when someone's starting out, because people want to microwave their success. And if anybody knows about microwaving, again, I was being raised by a dying mother, and I always wanted to prove to her before she died that, her parenting didn't go in vain.
We're 5 minutes in. There's so much to unpack. Chef Bobby, first, thank you. Acknowledgement for your vulnerability and candor, right? And tracing back the genesis of how you've gotten to right now. There's a lot of power and acknowledgement and gratitude, of course, too, for, you're good. Don't worry about that. Gratitude, though, for your sharing that with the audience. It's disarming, it's authentic, it's real, and it's a fast track to authentic connection. So our listeners and watchers, I'm sure, are already captivated a ton. And so I wanted to we talked about diversity, you talked about overnight success, you talked about resilience, perseverance, and you talked about servant and kind of that servant leadership almost mentality. I want to also say just one more thing. You, by listening or watching this, you're going to, again, you've already seen it here in the beginnings of our discussion, but inspiration, motivation, how to become more involved in the community, how to become resilient. These are the takeaways that I want to make sure I highlight so that there's that inspiration, that engagement, but then there's that, what are we going to derive from this conversation today? And you've already hit on a lot. So where do you want to go from here, brother? Do you want to go to diversity? Do you want to go any of those things you mentioned? I would like to drive further on.
Well, yeah, of course. I like to go to what really made me successful.
Let's go.
And what really, I only say I'm only successful because I did well by others and not for myself. When I describe successful, again, when I talk about raising kids and was able to support them through college, and was able to support my family, that makes me very successful. So when we talk about the service work, my whole objective is to start something that I can use my talent. I didn't have to go back to a university. I didn't have to go back to a college. I was given a glimpse of my talent again at 11 years old, being this boy wonder. And all this transferable street skills that I applied to my business made sense. So, but it made sense for me to become diverse enough to understand that it takes other people to get you there. It didn't, so I wasn't scared of being around other people than my own culture. So I was familiar with the Italians. I was familiar with the Polish, because we all stayed in one community. And I had fortitude enough that my mother didn't raise us with any type of prejudice. So diversity, it means a lot to me. So we talk about diversity even now with this pandemic going on. Diversity means, for me, it's a bottom line. It's a check and balance. Again, we need all dollars. We just don't need black dollars. We don't need green dollars. We don't need, we need all dollars when it comes to diversity. People really don't like to be in one-sided room. When you go to Montreal, it's just so many different cultures and so many different kind of people, and that's strategically done because it's a bottom line issue. When you check in, when you're talking about a bottom line, so you check in everything: food, culture. You check in medicine. Let's talk about medicine when we talk about diversity, because that's even deeper. We're talking about poverty poorness brings on diseases. So we're talking about right in our own country, United States. You never thought you'd be talking about we are the war, meaning me and you, meaning the humans with this bio medicine disease warfare that we're going through, what we call COVID-19. A lot of that stems from poverty. So you're not worried about diversity. So what that means to you, if you let it go on, they'll show up at your door. Not in a ski mask and not like in breaking through the window, but through this bio disease warfare. Because we're infections. We carry disease, and disease is carried mostly by poverty and the poor. So when you have it for the last 50 years of being one-sided, not including diversity in, what happens is you get this other class of people that carries this poverty, and then poverty carries on other things, other serious things. COVID-19, we're talking infectious diseases. That's what happens out of poverty. Take a page of what those other countries doing, like Ethiopia and Africa. It's out of poverty, it's out of poorness that carries the disease. So now it hits us in our front yard. Now everybody's talking about diversity, but they don't even know what that means. They think it's money. But I look at it as it's war. That when you don't include diversity like that, it's very interesting. We don't look at ourselves as we're the disease, but we're the weapon.
Wow, love the metaphor and following you, right? So I at the beginning you mentioned it in the intro of who you are, how you've gotten here. We talked about diversity before this and how I even just said to you plainly that I'm so grateful for the diversity that's come into my life more and more. Making friends like yourself and learning from you and looking to you as a mentor and as an idol, honestly, from what you're doing in the communities that you're involved in. But then, content, diverse content, diverse foods, diverse mindsets. It's not just a buzzword, right? Because it's kind of what it's become. I think anything that's societally driven, right? It's kind of that flash word, that hot word. Let's make sure we're diverse. So I think there's a takeaway here in that. Again, for me, I said to you plainly, right, Chef? I said, I'm so grateful for the last couple of years where I start to look at who's in my life, who am I talking to, who am I learning from? Put you in there. Put a couple other names: Valentino Dixon, Chad Williams. I'm wearing his shirt right here. Due Process. Shout out. He'll be on the show soon. We just linked it up. Jesse Mack and all these other people of diversity that I'm learning from and learning what they're doing and where they've been. Right? What they've had to endure. You've talked about things you've endured, how to become resilient and persevere. For me, in my mind, I want to get you take and maybe we'll have you define it if you're willing, is empathy. This is all function of empathy. Empathy, then the subsets of empathy are imagination and creativity. So you go back to like the warfare. There's a war on creativity. There's a war on imagination. And I think because from where I'm sitting, what I see in my studies, it's because we need to have people that come out of schooling or whatever it may be, so that they can plug into a company, just go get your 9 to 5, whatever. And so I'm curious to know from you, and that's, I think, why also I think that's why the world is still in trouble and will be for a while, is because empathy is not at the forefront of our minds. It's not a muscle that's been developed.
Correct.
So I'm curious to hear from you on what your thoughts on empathy are and how it's played into where we are today
Correct.
as a society.
Yeah. So because empathy is so close to that word sympathy, and people are not taught about empathy. They're taught about sympathy, and they get those two confused.
So true, man.
Because they're so close together.
Huge difference.
Huge difference, but they're so close. It's almost like an oxymoron. So you're taught about sympathy. One thing, if you live long in life, you're gonna experience both of them. Life to me offers an equal opportunity. White, black, no matter candy stripe, you're gonna experience sympathy and empathy. Empathy was the base. It was the catalyst for me starting my nonprofit. I thought to myself, money, anybody can make money. I get you want money, but I can make money in Chicago and live in Buffalo. But when we talk about empathy, it really matters to me that I leave this world a little bit better than I found it. And that was the chase. It was like, okay, how can I look at this person, the chronic unemployed, or the person that's returning from incarceration, or the trauma that happens in an urban setting, and not do anything, not take my talent and do anything. So the very same place that I was running from, Johnny, it redirected me back to there. My objective was to get out the hood.
Sure.
Was to build businesses in the commerce district, in the downtown district. My objective was not to come back in an urban setting and put a Starbucks or put a eatery, a low-cost eatery. This is a below-cost eatery. That wasn't my objective. So empathy, I was worrying about my soul, and it drove me to the same place that I was leaving. And that's success. Success reminds me of the same struggle that I lived in.
Mm.
So each level of my life brought on its own hell. It's hell living in poor, and it's hell running a business. You see what I'm saying?
Wow, it's like an infinite loop. It's like
each level you'll never get to, because I know both levels. Because this hand, I was signing the welfare paper. With this hand, I was signing my DBA, and he felt the same. So you can't escape it.
Mm.
So now I'm in you can't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hard to wrap. Hard to wrap. Well, and I think it's a function then of accountability and not even accountability. Sorry. I think then it's that function of visceral awareness.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so you have the courage and strength to know that there's this room in your mind. There's a room in your mind that's locked. We'll go back. We'll continue the metaphors, right? There's a room in your mind that's locked that holds the thoughts, the bad experiences, the things in your childhood, and maybe when you were getting into those petty crimes or whatever, those slaps on the wrist that, eventually, you figured your way. But I think there's a room though where the problems are that we like to store and we like to hide because it's a function of fear, right? Does anyone like to? You said it to me earlier before we started shooting. You're like, John, like you are real. You tell your story of failures and of rock bottom, and there's a power to that. And it's, I mentioned at the beginning, vulnerability, right? So it's amazing that you say that it's the same place of which you found the success that you're having. And success, again, is a thrown around word, but the impact, the legacy, achievements that you're having, that's a better way to say it, in the community, with our youth, with business, with revitalization, economic development. It's amazing to think that it was spurned, it was catalyzed by what was also keeping you back.
Exactly. Tragedy, I call it tragedy and triumph. Blessings and burdens. In fact, before I started really experiencing true blessings, I had to understand that it comes with a burden and understand what to handle those burdens. A lot of blessings was coming on me, or a lot of good faith, or I like to call them calculated accidents that was really putting me in the right position, but I was self-sabotaged at. So I didn't understand that blessings and burdens, they got the same grandmother. In fact, I would suggest before you ask for the blessing, prepare for the burden that comes along with it. So, a lot of my success leading up to here was in the dark. I had to learn how to be all right when it's not all right. And that's how I surpassed this phase of being self-sufficient. fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. I said I would rather make $50 of my own than 500,000 as being working for someone else. Until you come to that turning point, you will always have a conflicting spirit. So it wasn't nothing in my spirit saying if it doesn't work out. I never had that. In fact, I expected to work out. So being that said, so I took my ability to have this empathy and have a passion for people and go deep where no one or no organization was going. I want to disrupt where people wasn't going to. We always know that everybody needs soft skills. Oh, those kids they don't learn the way we learned back in the day. We always talk this back in the day, grandfather time talk, but no one was really doing it. We know kids need more respect. We know they need to pull their pants up, pull their cell phones away, look someone in the eye. We know these service skills, these soft skills that these kids was needing, but no one was really doing anything about it. I was like, well, how? I want to do something about that. And that's where the journey began. I created the software or hardware to disrupt home economics. So no one was sewing pillows anymore. And this is how my whole business or the 501c3 started. I wanted to go in and use my life skills, put it in a curriculum, and update it. So instead of you going to study hall, I want you to come to my real life program and get a set of skills that you can be applicable or apply to real life learning. So I meet you where you at. So if you want to come to my program and have a hood on, you can come there. You can wear your hood, but you're still giving good customer service in my Starbucks cafe with your hood on. And these are the home and consumer models that I created. So I created this curriculum, and it worked really, really well. And I took it another step further. I said, I want to pay the kids to come to school. So everything that you were taught differently, I ran towards the disruption of it. So I'm paying the kids to come to school. I'm paying kids to work at a real Starbucks. I built the real Starbucks inside of a high school. More importantly, now I'm dealing with what the passion or the mission that started me out with. So I'm dealing with the disenfranchised. I'm dealing with the chronic unemployed. In fact, that's where I'm more comfortable around when people have a story or a misfit, because it's in that misfit that really created my vision of becoming more. I told my mother, I said, I ain't living in this project all my life, mama. And she replied, that's good, boy. Now go clean your nasty room up. She just didn't know. That was her way of supporting me. But I remember having the vision early on that I wasn't going to always stay there. I wasn't going to always throw the stitching cord out the window when we ran into economic, financial problems. I was going to learn financial literacy, real solutions. Yeah. Not the solution of when the lights get turned off. The solution was...
It's not reactive, it's proactive.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. Because I grew up in a family household where we were taught to throw the extension cord out the window. That was a class 101, but it worked. So I took those transferable skills. I said, I'm not throwing the extension cord out the window, but I'm still applying the solution to the problem in a real on-time basis.
Yeah, and Chef, there's a lot happening in the old cranium here based on all these incredible gold nuggets that you're dropping. I wanted to throw something in response to that, and I'm sorry, the tragedies and triumphs you mentioned, is that there's a storm, but there's the storm that galvanizes strength. So I just wanted to be additive to those great. So it's storm, going through a storm to find strength. That's just my own additive piece, but I wanted to steer here, which will help, I think, color more about, Chef, your journey, because I want to get more into the organizations, the businesses, the endeavors that you're in. But before that, because I know the story, I'd love our audience to be educated, and I think it's in the news, it's been in the news, but I want to hear the story about your journey to get that in Niagara Falls High School.
Oh, yeah.
If you could tell us all about that, I'd love to hear more. It's so inspiring.
So I love that you described, Johnny, the storm. So most people don't realize, when we talk about this, the storm is either you in a storm or you probably just got out of one. See, what makes me different is that I know that the level that I'm going, I'm going to walk back through another storm. So those 3 phases. Most people want to know when it's going to get better. Either you're in a storm or you probably just got out of one.
100%. And
if you really want something like this, you're going to walk back through another storm. So you're always in a storm. So
that's great. That's a great strength, though.
Yeah, but what sinks the boat? It's not the storm. It's when you let the water get in on the inside.
It's good.
See,
it's the external getting inside, baby.
Yeah, when the situations or the depression or the loss of a loved one or the divorce. I'm talking real life stuff, like meeting life on life terms. Like we got a philosophy or we get that ideal how we want this to go. But when life has a way of buffering you, So now we're talking, tragedy opposed to the storm, or trauma opposed to the storm. And this is trauma getting this. You see it as pleasure. I see it as trauma. So the same prison that I was avoiding was my promise. Thank God I was around people that went to prison and I went to go visit them. The same prison that I experienced was the poem. Now I can sit here, there's a poem out of that prison. So going here, creating a Starbucks, creating a curriculum, creating a build out inside of a high school, which is the first in the nation, took trauma. So if I wasn't equipped with that type of buffering or that suckering, I would have never succeeded with that.
To get that.
So what I do is almost kind of funny because it's real life, and most people won't understand that I'm a time traveler. So I travel in time. I'll see what's happening, what's going to stop me, who's going to sucker me, who's going to tell me no, and then I'll come back to the present where I am with you, but my face is greased up. So when you hit me, it's going to slide off, but be prepared when I hit back. So this took me a flight to go to Seattle.
Yeah, talk about this.
For that.
Talk about this,
you
please.
know what I mean? So because I time travel,
unbelievable.
Right?
It's visionary. You're visionary.
Yeah,
you're 10 steps ahead.
You have to.
What do I do if I'm in the mall? I just want to color something. If I'm in this picture right now, right, or if I'm in this frame, okay, and I say this or I do this, what in 10 steps from now is going to come? Is going to be born out of this, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
So you can go ahead in time and say like, I'm going to do this project, and 5-10 steps ahead, there's going to be 20 kids back here working, and you, like you said, you're going to reconfigure their home economics.
Right.
So talk, please. I'm sorry. I'm geeking out on this Starbucks story. I'm geeking on the Starbucks story because it's resilience, though, and it's passion and it's drive. You take a flight, so
me and my wife, we went to Seattle. My wife didn't. I didn't really explain the vision to my wife, because most people won't get your vision. Life offers living life is a lonely business, whether you know it or not. Most of the great things that happen to you,
self-examine life.
You experience it by yourself.
Yeah.
And then you share it with other people. So
and then maybe you create a spark then, right? So that's 100%. I just want to make sure I throw this in there that, like you said, your loved ones, your inner circle, the people that maybe we'll consider more traditionalists, right? We're both, the two of us here are certainly out of it. I'm newer in my journey. That's why I love talking with you, but that's exactly it. But maybe in those discussions through osmosis, right? Through osmosis, you maybe give them a spark to say, you know what John or Chef Bobby did, I could apply that in my life in my own unique way. Bruce Lee, take what's useful, discard what's not, uniquely make it your own.
Yeah, right.
So I'm sorry, I keep going there with that. You didn't tell your wife. She probably would have tried to stop you if you told her, because I know the story.
Well, most people are crazy. This is crazy. You don't do this. To
just fly out.
Business is done unconventionally when you're black. So that's why I don't hold my color back, or me saying I didn't get this because of my color. Because I do know one thing about life. Life offers you an equal opportunity experience. We're both born with the same elbows, same knees. So that's my philosophy. So when I went to Seattle, and I had my package, I had the business plan, and I had the narrative, and I had the premise of my curriculum, what I wanted to do. First ever in the nation. Sounds crazy because, first of all, you can't have caffeine around a bunch of kids. Second of all, this never been done before. So I get to Seattle unannounced, kind of. I contacted a few people there. They didn't believe I was coming out. But I told my wife I just wanted to take a vacation, a 2-day vacation to Seattle. Let's go look at the Needle.
Yeah.
We ate some gorgeous truffles
Sure.
down at the market down there.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, we took an Uber the next day to Seattle corporate office. What are we doing here?
Of Starbucks.
Of Starbucks.
Yeah.
And she said, "What are we doing here?" Well, just hold tight and just follow my lead. And that's when I went to the corporate Starbucks of Seattle, and I pitched my pitch. I said, "Listen, I'm not here to ask for money. Not that I have any of my own. This is the exact words. I'm not here to ask for money. Not that I have any of my own. I want you to look at my business plan and tell me what you think. Because I'm smart enough to understand who built this company, Howard Schwartz, who built this company. Money wasn't his greatest value. So if I can think like him, then I can become him." That's all I said. They looked at me, "Who sent you here? Who did this? And who did?" Oh, they sent security down and security came. And here's the great thing about being security, the security being called on you. They have to log the incident in.
Review it.
Oh yeah, the disruption has to be logged in. So notice one thing about being a leader. When you walk in the door, you walk in with somewhat of a controversy. Little controversy follows a great leader. Every great leader comes in with a little bit of controversy. So they logged in the incident. "Who sent you here?" I said, "Hey, my pastor sent me here because I heard the voice from my pastor." "Who's your pastor?" And I named the pastor name. So they went, "Oh, well, how did you get past here?" So I told you I was looking for Howard Schwartz. I'm looking for the top. "Oh, he just retired." Found out he just retired. He just cleared his desktop. I just missed him by a week. So a month later, they liked the enthusiasm. You know what you don't know in life or education, I found out you lack, you can make up with enthusiasm.
Passion.
Oh,
Energy,
absolutely.
Spirit.
Oh, absolutely.
Drive.
Absolutely. I thought everybody was born with that. I thought everybody had a personality. I thought you were just born with it, and I found out you're not. I thought you were born with it. You're not. That's a gift. Personality. A month later, he said, "Well, explain to me what do you plan on doing?" And I explained it to him. I want to use Starbucks as a curriculum. I want to raise the next Starbucks thinker, not drinker, thinker. So you got to think about it, Johnny. I'm exposing a vulnerable, impressionable age of kids to around Starbucks, not drinking it, but they're just around it. They're smelling it, they're seeing it, they're working it. So I'm in real time raising the next Starbucks generation. We're talking 16, 17. That's a impressionable age for
Formative
an
years.
adult. Yeah. So they gave me the green light. And here's the thing about that. I'm glad. Watch this.
It took a lot more than just that one meet, and then they called you a month later. Like, you were all over it.
I'm glad you laughed, because most people, when they feel they get the green light, they got it made.
You're just starting, man.
So here's the thing about the green light, especially from when you come from a sketchy past, per se, not that Princeton, Howard, Oxford type of Yale type of past.
Right.
The great thing about getting the green light is you just can't show up to battle. You have to win your way to battle. So I won my way to the battle. I could have stopped there. I won my way to the battle. Yeah. Here's my reward. I got a reward for that. My reward for that was, now I get the battle.
That's it, man.
That's
you
the
battle
reward.
to get to that moment to then commence the actual battle.
I just got excited by that.
Which was to build this, or not, I mean, yes, here in a way, but in Niagara Falls High School, not far from here.
Yeah.
You literally had to fight.
You had to win your way to the battle. You got this great business plan. You got this great vision. It'll help others. It'll work out. It'll make money, whatever. But you just can't show up for that.
You were singing for supper just to start to make supper.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely. So here's your reward for
Let's
that.
go.
Now you get the battle. And that's where, oh my God, you're talking all the naysayers, all the no's. You have to take a no and understand no literally means that's the start of the sale. When you hear the word no, you have to become comfortable feeling a tad bit uncomfortable.
Like the no. Almost you got to embrace the no.
It sucks.
It sucks, but
it don't feel good.
But it's better than someone saying, you know what, we'll think about it. Call us in a week. And then, hey, a week goes by. Hey, what do you guys think? Yeah, we're still deciding. Call us in another 2 weeks.
I hope somebody's listening and understand that no is the start of the sale. That means you got it.
So many golden nuggets. I told myself, here's a real time candid moment. I told myself, and why, because we talked about self-examination earlier in this, right? Because I want to stay on this. Oh. No, I want to stay there. But just a sidebar. I remember like through examining and studying all the podcasts that I am doing, right? I'm trying to get better each time, right? Of course, growth mindset, right? Trying to be better, even if it's just a little bit. And I told myself coming into this, I was literally under my breath walking in. Don't get all, not starstruck, but just overly energized. But it's like, because like I catch myself in other podcasts doing like this, or like, oh my God. But there are so many gold nuggets here for people to take, too many to even go back and really tabulate, honestly, Chef. Like, and so, all right. So just in my sidebar there, coming back, I want, so in the end, let's just figure that out, right? Let's go back to that. In the end, you got it in. You got the Starbucks in the Niagara Falls High School, which was what, 2018, 16, 17?
2017. So 17. I finally built it out. We're talking about getting all the kiosks shipped in from Vancouver. We're talking about building the build out. We had to build a layout. I had trademark issues. Starbucks is very protective of their brand. So I had to reevaluate some of my build out. That costed, so what you don't know in business, you pay for literally. Because this is my first time. It's never been done before. And when you're doing it the first time, you take a hit that is beyond hit. So, because you're the first time doing it and people don't know, So trademark values, I violated. I had to go back and take off things. So it was a battle. But when we finally got it up and running, and when we graduated the first cohort of kids, 10 kids, 6 of those kids are still employed. They're now adults and throughout my low-cost eatery. So that's the reward of that. That's the reward of the prison. I remember I told you earlier, the prison is the poem. Now there's a poem of that prison I was telling you about. So it's up and running to this day. COVID stopped it, but we're the only program, I should say, or after-school program or enrichment program that still went on throughout the pandemic. So it's an enrichment program.
Enhancement, enrichment, empowerment.
Correct.
Again, I think that empowerment word especially could be.
Now Starbucks is on board. Now we're friends. Oh, Bobby, can we help you out? Can we donate?
They saw it.
So
there's always those naysayers in the beginning, right? It's like, it's even with us.
Especially when you're the first.
Well, it's like, or it's even if it's the first, like literally the first, or it's your first.
Right.
My first time starting a business, I had a lot of people saying, "What the hell are you doing? You're leaving a good job. You're gonna, in the middle of a pandemic." What? Right. So it goes back to those voices, those people, like what you said with your wife. You didn't tell her because she probably would have tried to stop. Maybe
she didn't know.
Maybe
because she didn't. Well, even if she did, she just didn't know.
She didn't know. She didn't have awareness.
I had this great mother. She's an amazing mother. I first heard French when I was in a restaurant. I was 16 years old. Remember, I just told you I had a great mother, and I ran home. I said, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to take you to France." She told me, she said, "That's nice, boy. Now go clean your shitty room up." Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
But that's what she told me. Yeah. Because she supported me. She just didn't know.
It was her level, though, of cognition, awareness, experience.
Right. That's what she was taught.
Well, exactly. And that's why. So
I couldn't tell my wife. She would have.
Yeah, there's filters. There's mechanisms built by society.
It takes courage, Johnny, 100%. To do this. We think we got it. It takes courage to go catch the mayor, Byron, as he's walking down the steps and give him your business plan. It's unconditional.
You're good, Doc. You're good. Don't worry about it. We are filming, but no, you're fine. Seriously, say hi to the camera even. Dr. Stahura, resident scholar.
Yes.
Trek. Shout out to Dr. Stahura there.
Going to F-Buds.
Yes.
Let's go. There you go, Doc.
But man, the word courage.
Well,
we skip over that.
But it's energy too, though. So in being courageous, you start to show yourself. Obviously it can be traumatic, right? Taking that leap of faith, right? Les Brown, jump and grow wings on the way down, right? That's what faith is, right? And it's a function of courage. So if you can be courageous enough to persevere to get to the point that you're now at, and that, again, I'm liking this, right? We're two entrepreneurs on a journey here. Again, I'm way early in the beginnings.
No, you're not.
But it's in doing that. Clay, you're good, man. Come on through, man. It's real-time podcast.
Everybody's
another member of Track, Clay Miller. Yeah, there we go. Let's go. It's lunchtime. It's fine. It's lunchtime. But it's beautiful to see that there's this. You talked about a continuum, or like kind of that loop, and what got you to where you are. Was your prison? Was that was that dark place. But in this sense too, when you start to become courageous and you live it in real time, in real life, you build confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that confidence will allow you to keep one of my favorite things to say. I think people are probably sick of seeing this hashtag of mine, but it's hashtag, lowercase keep, uppercase going with the lightning bolt. Just keep going, right? It's just that, even if it's just, you don't want to get, even if it's, I don't want to get out of bed today. If it's that simple, if it's that, not even simple, but if it's that granular, just get out of bed.
I love that.
It's just take that first step, man.
I love that.
And you might have to take you're okay. No, you're fine. Come on through. We're doing a podcast, but this is the point of it. So come on. Or you got to say something?
Yeah, no, it's okay. We'll finish this. We'll finish it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Unless it's a huge need.
Nah.
Okay.
I love the word "keep going" because you said there's another component. Like most entrepreneurs or whoever really want this, I haven't really met anyone who was incredibly successful. Didn't say I had to give my left arm for this, or I had to sacrifice a lot for this. And for me, it was either I wanted this more than I wanted to breathe, to leave a mark. So that's how bizarre. Steve Jobs said it's so bizarre that it'll probably remind you of the same degradation that you're leaving. That's what Steve Jobs said. So that's why most people don't finish their journey. Because it's weird. Because the brain will rationalize, say, who wants this? I need relief.
It's to protect you.
Yeah. The brain's a smart muscle. Yeah. So success, that you get stripped down. So when I go to the bank and they start sending me on the long way home, how do you support your Starbucks? This dream now, because it takes money. Let me tell you, two people live inside of my head. There's Mother Theresa and there's Warren Buffett. And they're both battling. So now it takes money to support this. And now you go to the bank with this gorgeous business plan. You got everything right. But the bank says, well, it doesn't look right. You got to do, you need another a year of taxes. This is what real entrepreneurs face.
I'm there now.
So absolutely. So this is what they're designed to tell you that.
It's a sandbox.
So here's how you beat that. And there's nothing on paper or black and white. I'm telling you how you beat it through experience. Because they sent me on the long way home for 5 years after a proof of concept. So we're talking real life. We ain't talking guesses. I'm at the bonanza with a kill, per se. I have a kill. You know what I mean?
Oh, you talk about this concept at the table.
Yeah, they don't even invite you until you have a kill. What that means is, he owns this, or he owns that, or they started this. That's your kill. So have room in your heart for one more thing. That's how you're going to get by. They're going to always give you one more thing. And there'll be that last little thing that make you drop off. But have room in your heart for one more thing. The one more thing, I call it.
That's beautiful.
That's what the bank's going to do. They're going to say, hey, we're going to give it to you. Just give me that ladder there. And you're getting ready to, oh no, we want you to go around out there, that door. You just can't go there. You'd be like, oh no, it's right there.
I can just go here.
Now, so have room in your heart for one more thing. The one more thing knocks most entrepreneurs out the box.
I can't wait to study this, watch this, tabulate, chronicle all the different concepts and experiences that you're dropping here.
Because I needed that. I needed money to support the Starbucks. So,
you said this to me, right? You said this to me months ago, and I'll never forget it. It's the beauty of Trek and being here and having these collisions. I want to make sure I highlight that too. How many life-changing conversations I've had in here, and a lot of them were with you. And you told me when you said, John, you're going somewhere, man. I'm watching your journey, and you don't even. I think you said you don't even know how big you are. That's what you told me. And I said, well, hey, listen, all I'm trying to do is to live a life of servant leadership and empathy and uplift and whatever, authenticity, this and that. Like I just want to help everyone else around me do well. And I remember you saying, I thought maybe talk dollars at the time, like money and whatever. And you said, like passion doesn't pay for your mom's medical bills if she needs them. Money does that. So by that balance of Mother Theresa Warren Buffett, though, that's a beautiful analogy, beautiful comparison. It's almost a dichotomy of sorts. Maybe not even Warren Buffett, but like who's another guy like Jamie Dimon, with whatever the heck bank, Morgan Stanley, whatever it is, big time, profit driven, executive making tens, hundreds of millions, whatever. Versus Mother Teresa, the servant leader, even St. Vincent de Paul, Niagara University tie-in. How do we balance that? But life is, if you look at any paradox or dichotomy in life. It's all about that balance.
Yeah.
Should I drink every single day and get absolutely, wasted or whatever? Or is it none? Sometimes there is going to be that total abstinence. In my case, that's happened. I think in your case too, right? We don't need to go down that point, but not abstaining from consuming alcohol. But the point is that balance point on most other things in life. All right, listen. So we're doing. I know we may have to get there. It's lunchtime, so I want to make sure you got some time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure then that we kind of now bring it all back into focus. We've talked about F-Bites. We talked about something we did in Niagara Falls, and it's been all incredibly educational. But let's unpack the portfolio of Executive Chef Bobby, what he's doing here again with the highlight of Niagara Falls, right? Niagara Falls, New York. Let's talk about everything you're doing, right? So whether it's actually in progress and happening and applied, or if it's concepting some of the things I know you've got going on around the city and around the area. So let's unpack all those.
So from the nonprofit came a lot of subsidiaries of different other entities. Yeah. So, and they're a great way of turning the city around. I wanted to come back to my own city where it's degradation and reverse the degradation of it. We're talking number 1 in poverty, number 2 in teen pregnancy, number 1 in STD rates, and I wanted to do something about that. I live in a gorgeous neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. Yeah. So I come back to the degradation, and I said I wanted to reverse that. So I wanted to hire 50 unemployed, chronic unemployed, poor zip codes. I go inside the vulnerable population. I go inside the food desert. So I train them first. So I don't lose dollars, a lot of dollars training the soft skills like most companies will lose dollars. So what set aside from that is all these restaurants start popping up in a pandemic. So I opened up 5 different restaurants in the pandemic. So we hired 50 people this year. So this is one of the restaurants, which is a low cost eatery. We have a staff of 20 people now. So we opened up 4 different other entities, and those are to hire and to pipeline my programming graduates, as well as that population that we talked about. And why I care about that diversity population is because ultimately, if you start treating that, you treat the disease.
Say that one more time in case with some guy going by real fast. One more time.
The poverty, the population that I treat is high on my radar is because once you start treating those people, that chronic unemployed, the poor zip codes, the high risk, so once you start treating that, you're actually starting to treat the disease. So you don't have to do a plea
to the source.
Absolutely, you don't have to have a plead on TV and say, Black and brown people, go get your shot.
You're actually applying it. It's not a Band-Aid. It's like real, like it's applicable. It's tangible.
Yeah, it's
these upskilling of these individuals.
It's reversing the ideology of Black people.
Education,
Black, brown
awareness.
People. Yeah, I'm on the grounds with that. I'm 10 toes on the ground. It's not about fixing the money problem. Money don't fix money problems.
No, don't throw money at it.
Yeah, it's about reversing the ideology of that. So a lot of Black and brown people in this area don't believe in counseling or don't believe in psychology. I'm saying, okay, come to my program. You're really getting this agreed trauma-informed care, but you're getting it through food. So it doesn't look like you went to the shrink, Yeah. So you have to meet people where they're at. You have to be creative like that. So we're doing a lot of great things in this city. I have a dream and my wish and my study. This is not work to me. This is my research. My research is in 10 years, I want to eradicate neediness in these neighborhoods. Not hunger, neediness. I get there's a lot of trauma. I get there's a lot of mental health,
Define neediness,
wellness.
Chef. Define
well, you don't have to worry about the basic clothes, shelter, water. You don't have to throw the extension cord out the window when you need heat at night. Which I want to eradicate that.
A lot of times that's the impetus then for potential crime or, again, that perpetuation then, right? If you can't take care of the basics, it's crazy. I was talking yesterday and about, having even just personal hygiene, how important that is, how good one can feel. Just even that basic of humanity.
And it goes past basic or past hygiene. We're talking or past crime. Like that's the things that you can see. And it's okay. Keep those people over there.
Can't see in here though.
Keep those people over there. And that's what most of us will say until they show up on your lawn. And they will.
Oh, yeah.
They, so this gentrification or whatever, you fight against, it's all good until they show up on your lawn. So now they did, and you don't even see it through diseases. Poverty brings on diseases. When you got a lopsided city, it brings on not only crime, it brings on the disease, the spirit of disease. Being poor brings on other hygiene problems. Hygiene equals diseases, scars, MRSA. That all comes from a stricken poverty area. You got to trace this thing. You got to trace diversity really back and find out what that means in its entirety. Not just crime, not just just be around mixed people, not just having fun. We're talking what we're experiencing now with COVID-19. So yeah, it's very important. Very important to me that I want to eradicate neediness. So I have a mission.
You're a man with a mission.
So you ain't throwing the electric cord out the side window in the wintertime because you don't have heat. I want to eradicate that.
I can't help it in real time with candor here. I'm learning just here. And I think I'm confident our audience is learning, watching and listening. Like there's a dichotomy even just right here,
Right.
and I might be going outside of my depths. So bring me back in if I am, but I grew up in a home, in a nice place. I didn't have to worry about any of the things that we're talking about. Yet by having an awareness of having these conversations, it then creates the awareness, which then when the awareness is there, if you have proper empathy functionalities or mechanisms, then that empathy with subsets of imagination and creativity, Chef, will show you that, man, I got to do something here. So, that's the goosebump moment. Because again, there couldn't be, and I'm, without saying it, even though it doesn't look like it, I'm about almost half your age, which again, I would never have guessed with your spirit, with your passion, your energy, but also just upbringings. And again, that's that raw, authentic stuff that we need in this world. Like we can't be afraid to have that conversation that could be uncomfortable. Because candidly in my head before saying this, I was like, do I? And I've been very good at being uncomfortable, things you've talked about, just doing it. So the point is, look at this. Look at this camera.
I love that.
It's like I have 20 years less your experience on this in the movie of life, right? And I had a much different upbringing, right? I didn't want for anything. And so but how did, not to make this about me, Chef, but I'm going to ask you, how did I get to this point where I am an ultra empath? I am a person who, I see someone on the street and I get hit in the chest. If I see that someone's struggling or potentially homeless, or maybe they're afflicted with mental illness, I get emotional. I want to stop. What should I do? How can I help them? And that's actually even going further. I want to make sure I have that question sitting right here, but that goes further back to sympathy versus empathy. Here's a great analogy. I'll shout out Michael David Ross of Lally Insurance. We talked about this. Sympathy, analogously speaking, when you're driving down the street and you see someone struggling, what does sympathy do? They open their window and they say, hey, I hope you're okay. Sending you my best wishes. Good luck. Empathy stops the car, gets out of the car, helps that person with what they need. The problem there, though, then brings out this crazy balance of self-preservation versus compassion. So if I was an ultra 100% empath, I would never get to where I'm going, because if I'm driving from the heart of the city here to go across the border and I see 10 people, if I'm a 100% empath, I stop and I help all 10 people, and then eventually I don't get to where I need to go. So then what happens between preserving myself and getting to where I need to go versus then practicing and immersing in compassion, which is a function of empathy?
This will sound messed up. Every once in a while, God will give someone the grace to do both at the same time. So when I say this will sound messed up, what sounds messed up is I'm nothing like my mother and father, and maybe you're not either. And you didn't never examine that. And what I mean by that is when I said I'm nothing like my mother and father, but they did their job because they always wanted better for their boy, of course, than them. My mother did her job, wonderful lady, but I don't rationalize problems like she did. I don't shout out like she did. I don't brainstorm like she did. I don't have solutions like she did. I don't live in the houses that she did. I don't drive the cars that she did. But she did her job. And every once in a while, God will give a person the grace to do both. Can I patch your sore up while I'm stitching my wound? At the same time, it takes grace for that. Hey, you don't get that in a textbook. And every once in a while, can I love you without sleeping with you? This is grace. I thought you had to sleep with someone to really love someone. Oh, yeah. Every once in a while, God will give you the grace. So if you only like me when you love me,
I'll be around you.
Keep that.
Take
love.
it.
Because you ain't gonna always love. You ain't gonna always like me. So you can't love me once the infatuation wears out, or once the excitement wears out, or nostalgia wears off. Can you still love me?
That's
See,
weird.
this is grace we talk. Every once in a while, a person comes and be called. They'll be called to do it. Can you love me without sleeping with me? Can you stitch my wound up while you still patching your sore? That's grace.
Well,
That's grace.
And I think you just gave I'll shout out to Tony Robbins. We all know Tony Robbins. The thing that I took from his teachings was, if you're struggling, it's because you're focused on you. How can we combat and then eradicate your personal solo, right? Your struggle is to then give service to others. So don't make it about me. I'm having this problem in my business. I'm struggling. No, it's okay. Stop that, which is grace. And let's go deploy grace to those that need my grace and my help and my energy. And it's that concurrent, I'm going to stitch myself up while stitching you up. That is grace. That is again, service to others. So maybe we don't even have the level of cognition we need. I think we do at this table, but it's like when you're employing these young people, right? You are there's a byproduct for you to see in real time these young people making a better life for themselves, changing their life narrative. Maybe their life narrative was something that was less than ideal, and it wasn't gainful employment and upskilling with their soft and hard skills. Maybe it was something different. Maybe it was something much more negative. But then by you being present, immersed in that on a daily basis, 10 toes on the ground, you yourself, through osmosis, literally, I'm not trying to make this about me, but through that,
I love that.
Through that bringing togetherness, though, you then are also patching that wound.
I love that when you said that, because
That's
my mother, again, she was a great woman. You're a great man, but
appreciate that.
But in all likely, if you live for a long time and never did anything with your time, what good was that? Like after 3-4 years, we forgot about my mother. 6, 7. I mean, we still put, at Christmas time, you'll remember, or 7, 8. My mother been gone for 25 years, and I thought, I want people to know I once walked this earth. So you start living for a bigger purpose. Why is my last name my last name? Forget about money.
Who came before me?
Forget about status. Why am I black? Why do I have big lips? I wanted them. These are the questions that I started asking myself. I wanted people to know I once walked this earth. So what's going to be my legacy? You mentioned legacy.
Impact, legacy.
After 4 or 5 years, man, we didn't. I told you I had this great mother. At maybe Christmas, maybe her birthday, we started remembering her. But after that, she was a great mother. But people forget you. I thought in my grave, I still want to be making decisions from the decisions
because
I made
it's
while I
through
was
the people
living.
that you've impacted.
Yeah, I still want to be directing in my grave.
It's the bodies of work
Yeah.
that provide the inspiration. So an
That's how big the dream is. That it will take probably 4 generations. In my grave, I'm still gonna be like, no, take a left. No, son, take a right. No, no, daughter, you can't get this until you graduate. In my grave, I'm still gonna be directing.
It's through your works that people then can, like you said, 4 generations from now, people can use as a playbook,
Absolutely,
as a roadmap.
Yeah.
This
So
is
now maybe when you go to the Taste of Buffalo, what that looks like in real time, when you go to Taste of Buffalo, some little black boy or brown boy or black or brown see a restaurant owner and say, "Oh, mommy, maybe I can be a restaurant owner."
Because they see you.
Yeah. They just don't see me, the person sweeping the streets with the broom. They see, "Oh, is that,
You just don't know the impact that you truly can have on someone, right? And again, I want to call you out and acknowledge you. When I sat here in November 2020 and I asked that question, you were on a panel with the mayor or, the mayor, the superintendent, a couple other constituents of the city of Niagara Falls, you were there. And everyone else is great, but if I gravitated towards one, I'm sitting with that person right now. And I remember asking you because I could tell. Your question, whatever it was, something kind of got by accident, got maybe circumvented or stepped around because there was just a lot of activity in the event. And I remember raising my hand. I said, "You know what? Wait, just back to Chef Bobby. You were saying something, Chef, and I wanted to ask you, what's your why?"
Yeah.
So let's do that here.
Yeah.
I want to hear your why.
Yeah.
And then I want to hear where we can find you and how we can help. So
a
couple part there. So what is your why? Like I asked you that day in November 2020.
Yeah, the why I do things is because some girl or some boy is gonna experience a police a contact, or some girl is gonna have an accidental pregnancy, but she's gonna know through the F-Bites program that she can always work a hospitality job while she having the baby and have the baby, but still work and don't have to go on welfare and work at Olive Garden or work at Applebee's while she's figuring life out. Oh, she got herself back on the track because she's always good to have money in your pocket. I haven't really met anyone who wasn't incredibly successful, a judge, a lawyer, or attorney, haven't worked their way through college, through some type of busser, maitre d', waiter. In the hospitality business is a way to earn money while you're going to college or while you're figuring life out. So I wanted to see that through. I wanted to create these pipelines. I ain't teaching you to be a chef, maitre d', or waiter. I'm teaching you this is the only business while you're figuring life out or mishaps. I treat you or I meet you where life meets you. So she has a baby at a tender age. You don't have to drop off the grid. Work this restaurant job. Go back to school and figure life out. Oh, now she went back to school and she's still working at Olive Garden or F-Bites, and she got herself back on the grid. That's my why. I want to see that. That's a pipeline. I want to see that. That's an ideology. I'm trying to reverse engineering the neighborhood, not through building, but through ideology. So to reverse the engineering,
building
thinking,
skills.
Absolutely. While you're figuring life out, because that's what happened to me. I was figuring life out, but I always had one foot in a restaurant, some type of hospitality business. So that's the reason. That's the why I do it. I don't do it because of I need anything. I do it because I need to keep the doors open. That's how I'm successful. Not looking at numbers, scaling numbers. I do it because I need to keep the door open. I'm doing what a lot of businesses couldn't do in this pandemic. I'm doing what Lord and Taylor's couldn't do. They couldn't keep the door open. So something simple as that. That's my why. Keep the door open. I have to do it as that simple because life can get overwhelming, right? Keep the door open. How about something simple as keeping the door open? So we just opened up 3 other entities on Old Falls Street. Cantina Falls, 310. It's a gorgeous mixed bipolar restaurant between Mexican and soul food.
I like that bipolar restaurant.
We're opening up another entity called the Cataract House. That's going to be opening in July. That's going to be an amazing Underground Railroad experience.
All in the Old Falls area?
Here at Tubman. Yeah.
With the
Underground Railroad.
Yep, sorry.
The African American heritage. So we're tying that 2 pieces together. So we need to tell the story. So when you come down to the falls and you talk about diversity, they have no story to tell. So I'm going to tell that story. I don't want to open up a restaurant. I wanted to tell a story. Oh, by the way, it's a restaurant. See how that works? So you can catch us here, 7th and Niagara Street.
616. What is this? 616 as well.
Correct.
Same 616 Niagara Street.
You can catch us in all 4 schools. We do after-school programming. We do curriculums in all 4 of the schools in Niagara County. Erie County, you can catch us in 3 of the schools. We do virtual academy because of COVID. And 4 of the schools in Erie County. We're inside of the jails 2 nights out of the week, Erie County as well as Niagara County. So if you go on our website, fbites.org,
Yep,
we're
F-Bites.
really doing some cool work on, on time.
That'll be in the show notes. I'll have all this in the show notes. Everything we're talking about, the summary, so people can click the hyperlinks for sure.
Right. Yeah.
That way it's directly in it on YouTube and all the audio platforms. People will be able to find everything we're talking about through the links.
Right.
So I'll make
Correct.
sure I get those.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, lastly, to watch someone in a city that is reversing their thinking now, Niagara Falls is a great place to grow up. You just don't see it.
Not yet.
You just don't see it. There's not half of the risk of growing up in Chicago. I still see the same black boy at a young age has the same dream as the other black boy in Chicago, and his name is Obama. It's the same look. So now you just got to offer these people programming, enrichment, a pipeline,
Pathways, roadmaps, instruments.
Yeah. They got the same dream. It's the same place.
But
over there, it's a highly more chance you might get shot. So how do you say you can't make it here? Y'all got the same dream, the same look. Y'all look the same. Over there, you got a chance. They do 2,000 murderers. Over here, you might get 2 murderers. Even 1 murder is bad, but 2 against 2,000. Figure it out. It's only bad because of the way you're looking at it. This is a great place to grow up. Most likely, you can leave your kid out, or you can walk outside. You won't get shot, or you won't get robbed. You go to one of the metropolitan cities that we all dying to go to because they think it's better. Every city has its own line of hell. Remember, I told you that. Mm-hmm. But you look at it here, you can send your kid out. You can walk outside of this track today. Most likely, your tires are going to be on your car, and you ain't going to get stuck up. That's not going to happen in Toronto or Chicago or LA.
Certain parts, for sure. Yeah.
I love Niagara Falls.
Me too, man. I grew up in this place.
That's the reason why I come back, and people like to do something about it.
Yes,
I'm doing something about it.
I need to get involved with that.
Do something about it.
I mean, we are in a way, but I want to.
If there's crime, do something. I'm doing something about every facet. They said there was crime on this Niagara Street over here. This place got robbed. The bodega got shot and killed. There was a kid that got killed the other day. When you walk in here, I'm doing something about the crime because they police themselves. I don't need a police officer. I don't need an armed guard. But on Thursday, I'm giving the community free chili. So on Friday, when the gangsters come in, I deal with real life gangsters because there's some gangsters in Niagara Falls. I'm telling the gangsters, grab some lavender lemonade and relax because inside of the lavender is all kind of nutrients, Dr. Oz said. But they ain't got to pay, even though they can pay. But if it's the ideology, hey, here's good ground. So I'm doing something about it. Do something about it. They police themselves. I ain't got to worry about getting robbed. Have some lemonade. On Thursday, come get some chili.
It's amazing, man. Let's get the word out, brother. We're gonna keep pushing, man. We're gonna keep going, right. And I know you're gonna keep going, man. There's no finish line.
Yeah.
There's no finish line.
No.
The finish line is your grave.
Yeah, it's just a continuation. It's not a graduation. Yeah, it's a continuation.
I have like all these ideas for what the title's gonna be. I had executive chef, community enabler, because you are an enabler to the comeback. You are an enabler to upskill. You're an enabler to a network, to camaraderie, to support, to a second chance, to however many. That's what you are. You are an executive chef, community enabler. Baby.
I love that.
I just came out literally in my head. I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm like,
that's how gifted you are.
It's all back to impact. So let's wrap it up here. But this is gonna be the first of many. All right, law of attraction. You heard it here first. First of many. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have our next one down. Oh, my arm's a little sore from that shot.
Yeah.
we're gonna get the next one up on Old Fall Street.
3,000 square foot restaurant.
That's the next one. All right, and then the one after that's July is we're gonna showcase the what was the third one there? Sorry, the Cataract.
Yeah.
The Cataract joint that highlights. We're gonna showcase that.
Yeah.
So that's it. So number 1's here in Trek with F-Bites. All right. So come check out Trek. Come get some delicious. You had oxtail in there the other day.
You could smell it.
Which reminds me, I'm gonna need to hit you up. I don't know, like, is there a little bartering here, a podcast for a little lunch? No, I'm kidding. Of course, I'll grab some. But how do we? Last thing, in 60 seconds. How can we get involved, or how do we help our listeners?
So at this core, F-Bites is a training facility, and we're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. So at its core, we're always fundraising. We took a big hit. all of our prices is below cost because we fundraise. So, if donations is definitely needed.
Patronize the place.
Yes, you can come and
spread the good word about it.
Just say the good word about it because it's good ground. Come feel the good ground. But you can go to our website if you want to, if it's on your spirit, on your heart to donate. All our donations you see in real time with the kids. You can see them in action where it goes to, non-slip shoes, uniforms. So all the donations go right to the population.
And you get a cool thank you card. I'm interrupting you, but I was a donor a couple times, and I'm telling you, there's nothing better than I'm sorry, Chef, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I myself, what a beautiful handwritten note, a picture of the team, the gratitude expressed to show that this is it. Your dollars are being deployed. It's not just going to go find some account, whatever. Like, you are giving, again, it's that enablement then of helping people find their greatness. Right?
Yeah.
So sorry, continue. I apologize.
Our donations, it really helps our staff. 95% of our staff came from the disenfranchised, or they came from a vulnerable population. So housing, transportation is an issue for them. So with our staff, we close the loop by giving them bus passes. We give some of our employees our company trucks they can use on the weekend. So all this stuff that we set them up for success for their job, where they can show the work of our job. So fbites.org, if you want a donation, if it's on your heart, but you can actually see where your dollars go.
Come grab a bite, come grab a coffee, come hang out in Trek. I mean, it's Pat Whalen, a friend of ours. And
he's a mentor of mine.
A mentor, a friend, and someone who supports, who's all about the same thing we've just talked about for an hour and however long. This is going for over an hour, by the way. Let's go.
Has it been an hour?
It's going to be my longest. Let's go, baby.
Wow.
It's going to be but there's so much to talk about, and that's why it's exciting to know that the roadmap for us, our roadmap, not only shows that podcast 2, podcast 3, who knows how many more.
Tell the story.
Tell the story, and that's what this is, man. Cash is king was the old thing. Content is king now. What does content do? Thoughtful, intentional, mindful, beautiful content. What does it do? It tells a story, which then attracts these people, these folks coming in here. So
I love that.
So this is the first of many. Come check out Track 616 Niagara Street. Come check out F Bites. Come grab a bite. I'm about to grab me a bite because I'm starving. And we're gonna have a ton of show notes here to reflect the things we talked about, the things we've unpacked, and definitely come in and if you can find Chef Bobby, and you're looking for inspiration, man. When people look at me as the inspirer, the motivator, man, I'll tell you, man, how do I stay that way? People like you, my brother. Thanks for being here, dude. You're the man, all right? And by the way, one more thing. Thanks, Vidwheel Creator Network. Of course, my gratitude goes out to Chef Bobby, to Trek, to everything else. But Vidwheel Creator Network, this entire production, all this, that, the support. As always, my gratitude goes out there. So until the next episode, you got this, we got this. This is Johnny OZmosis. Keep going, all right?
I like that.
Thanks, everyone, for watching.